What if someone could disappear without a scream, without a struggle, without leaving behind a single clear answer? What if the most terrifying disappearances don't happen in the wilderness or after violence, but during moments so ordinary no one thinks to remember them? Because when Kadin Black vanished, nothing about that day felt dangerous. And that's what makes this case so unsettling. Stay with me, because the silence surrounding Kadin Black is louder than any evidence ever found. Before the disappearance, there was a life. Kadin Black wasn't reckless. He wasn't known for taking risks or disappearing without explanation. Those close to him describe someone grounded, someone with routines, someone who stayed connected. He had people who checked in on him, people who expected replies, people who would notice immediately if something felt off. Kadin wasn't trying to escape his life. He was living it. And that's why his disappearance didn't make sense then, and still doesn't now. At some point, Kadin was seen for the last confirmed time. This moment, this ordinary, forgettable interaction, would later become the center of the entire investigation. Because after this moment, Kadin Black vanishes. No verified sightings, no confirmed movements, no proof of where he went next. It's the point investigators return to again and again. Because whatever happened to Kadin happened after this. At first, no one panicked. Missed calls happen. Delayed responses aren't unusual. But then, more time passed. Messages went unanswered. Plans were missed. Check-ins didn't happen. Confusion settled in first. Then worry. Then the realization that something was wrong. This is the moment every missing person case reaches, when hope and fear begin to exist at the same time. Authorities were contacted. The search officially began. Investigators worked through the facts: where Kadin was last seen, who he had contact with, where he was expected to go. Searches were conducted in logical areas. Leads were followed, but each path ended the same way. Nothing. No evidence of an accident. No signs of violence. No indication of where Kadin went. And silence began to take over the case. As answers failed to appear, theories filled the gap. Some wondered if Kadin chose to disappear. But those who knew him didn't believe that. He didn't prepare. He didn't leave messages. He didn't take belongings. Others considered an accident. But again, no trace, which leaves the most disturbing possibility of all: that someone else was involved, that something happened quickly, quietly, without witnesses, because the most chilling crimes are the ones that leave no chaos behind. Time passed, searches slowed, leads dried up, media attention faded. But for Kadin's loved ones, time didn't move forward. It stalled. Every unanswered call carried hope. Every knock at the door carried fear. Because not knowing is its own kind of suffering. And silence became the defining feature of the case. The questions never went away. Where did Kadin go after he was last seen? Who was the last person to speak to him? Was his disappearance planned or forced? And the most unsettling question of all, was the moment that changed everything so ordinary that no one realized it mattered until it was too late? Someone knows something, and that truth continues to haunt this case. Disappearances like Kadin's don't just affect one family. They expose how fragile certainty really is, how easily someone can vanish without explanation, and how dangerous silence can be. Every time a story like this is told, it keeps pressure alive. It reminds people that this isn't just a case file. It's a human being who never came home. There are cases that end with answers, and then there are cases like this one, where the ending never arrives. Kadin Black's story does not conclude with certainty. It concludes with absence, with unanswered questions that remain suspended in time, with a silence that feels too deliberate to ignore. And that silence is what makes this case so difficult to leave behind. Because somewhere between the last confirmed sighting and the years that followed, something happened. Something that altered a life forever. Someone knows what that something was. They may have convinced themselves it no longer matters, that too much time has passed, that speaking now wouldn't change anything. But time doesn't erase truth. It only buries it deeper. And buried truths have a way of resurfacing, often when someone least expects it. This is why stories like Kadin's cannot be allowed to fade. Not because they are sensational, not because they are unresolved, but because forgetting is the final injustice. As long as Kadin's name is spoken, as long as his story is shared, as long as people continue to ask questions, the search is not over. So if this story stayed with you, if it unsettled you in a quiet way, if it made you realize how fragile certainty really is, don't let the silence take over. Take a moment to like this video, not for numbers, but for visibility. Leave a comment below, respectfully, with your thoughts or questions. Sometimes the smallest detail is the one that matters most. And if you believe that missing people deserve more than fading attention, subscribe to this channel. Because awareness creates pressure. Pressure keeps memory alive. And memory is often the last thing standing between silence and truth. Kadin Black is not just a name in an unsolved case. He is someone who mattered, someone who still matters. And as long as this story is told, the silence hasn't won.